Where am I? In the castle? This has to be the locked room. How the hell did I get in here? Damn blackouts. But Mordred is strong. I can feel him. I don't have a lot of time left. Ugh. Now I can see that I look as bad as I feel. Photos of my ma and pa. They can't help me anymore either. And what have we got here? A pair of pliers. I don't need them right now. A shaky old bed, full of woodworm. Perfect for dying in. There's a rope dangling right in front of the window. Or is it a noose? Better take it, I guess. There are a few shards lying under the table. There are a few shards. A rope, at least 20 meters long, but not particularly thick. It wouldn't be strong enough to hang yourself with. So I didn't dream it. It actually happened. That's the book from the ritual chamber. Mordred's book. The pages are empty. Damn. Can't be.
What the? Everything is in the book, and now there's nothing in the book.
Okay. Keep calm. Remember, in the ritual chamber with Angelina, the blood of a male Gordon. If I drop some of my blood onto the book, then the writings ought to become visible. A piece of glass. That ought to do it. Ow. Nothing. Not a single letter. Stop. Here. Here's something. Oh, no, it's just Mordred's dumbass summoning formula. All that for nothing. But I have to do something. I can't just let Mordred win. I'd rather be dead than a centuries-old murderer. My father, he's already trodden this path. It might be the simplest way, but it's also the most effective. Without me, there is no Mordred. My death will be his as well. I've got no other choice. The Gordons, centuries-old family. Cursed right down to the very last descendant. And I am him. The story of the Gordons ends with me.
No! Mr. Gordon! Adrian, don't do it!
Go away!
Come down, Adrian. You can't do that. There is another way.
What do you know?
More than you think. I can help you beat the curse. Trust me, please. Come down here, please!
Who sent you, and why?
My employer is the Vatican. Have you ever heard of the apostolic visitation? We're mainly concerned with supernatural phenomena, what are commonly known as miracles.
The Vatican. I was thinking it didn't get much worse, and the church comes knocking at the door.
I was sent here because we had been informed that Black Mirror Castle had burned down. It was apparently just a routine mission. I was to sort out legal matters and release the funds for the Gordons to rebuild the castle. But then I found out that Victoria Gordon was on her deathbed, and that Angelina was nowhere to be found. My task then became to secure the Gordons' inheritance and to minimize the effects of the curse as best I could.
The effects of the curse? The Gordon's inheritance?
Adrian, your eyes.
Yeah, I know. They're black. What do you know about the curse of the Gordons?
Mordred wanted immortality and power. He somehow anchored his soul in the mirror, but he was caught during a ritual by his brother. Shortly before his death, he cursed Marcus's descendants to collect souls, in order that he could be called back into life with him. And it seemed it worked, judging by her eyes.
Collect souls? You mean kill people?
Yes.
You're wrong. I haven't killed anyone, and still Mordred lives in me.
As far as I can gather, your twin sister, Angelina, did that for you. We got it all wrong. Angelina was originally supposed to take over the Guardian role. We didn't know anything about you. We thought the last male Gordon committed suicide 12 years ago.
What do you mean, Guardian role? You mean to guard these portals, right?
That is the Gordon's inheritance. The Guardians are people of pure heart, who were chosen by the Church a long time ago to guard the Black Mirror.
The Black Mirror?
Yes, a great mirror, which also serves as an ancient portal and lies deep beneath the castle. Marcus Gordon took over this duty and passed it on to his children.
But how should a Gordon stay pure of heart if they're all destined to murder?
Your family has produced more Guardians than it has murderers. Only Marcus's descendants are in a position to resist the Black Mirror. We still don't know why. However, we don't have any time now to research the exact reason for this, and then find an alternative Guardian from outside the Gordon family.
So, I'm definitely your last hope then. How do you know all this?
From the Vatican archives, and also from this book here, which I found in the library. It's the Book of the Guardians.
There are no longer any Guardians of pure heart here, just Mordred.
Adrian, right from birth, you were destined to become a Guardian. Without Angelina, Mordred's curse would never have passed over to you. Victoria would never have wanted nor permitted you to kill yourself. Do you want to simply ignore her final wishes? Adrian, if you're going to kill yourself, everything could only get worse. If there were no longer any Guardians, then the Black Mirror would be open to all. The mirror would enslave the weak and bring Mordred back into the world of the... And the Black Mirror will be unprotected. Victoria would have never allowed you to commit suicide. Are you going to simply ignore Victoria's last will?
All right then. I'll give you one chance. Did I understand that correctly? I'm the last Gordon of Marcus's lineage, and therefore also the last Guardian? But I can't guard the portal because a cursed part of me, the Mordred part, wants to open the portal. And if I kill myself, the portal can be opened because there are no more Guardians.
Something like that. Yes.
So, what do you suggest?
An exorcism. In the church.
An exorcism?
It's an ancient ritual. Long before there were Christians, ghosts and demons were being cast out of people. It works. You only have to believe in it, Adrian.
I'm possessed by the devil. Don't talk to me about belief. Okay, I'll do it.
Thank you. And now let's go to the church. We should complete the exorcism before night.
So, how does a person get to work for the Vatican?
Later.
Holy Mother in Heaven!
Yeah, a good day to you too, Father.
Prioress Antolini, welcome back. You've arrived at just the right time.
Now do you see why I was in such a hurry?
Miss Antolini has had an idea about how to solve my problem.
Yes, I've been informed. The Archbishop has told me about it himself.
5 minutes later, and you would have had to inform Mark as well.
Father, have you ever performed an exorcism?
I've been the priest for the whole manor of Black Mirror for years. Everyone here has been baptized by me, and my words accompany them to the grave, too. I've taken the confessions of murderers, and
Father, have you or haven't you?
No, not in practice. But I do have the theoretical knowledge, of course.
Oh, great. I'm the guinea pig.
Adrian, I've been trained for something like this. I've studied the Rituale Romanum several times. And if Prioress Antolini thinks it's the best option, then I agree with her. After all, she is, well...
I've already told Adrian who I work for, but I'm afraid we don't have time to discuss this for hours on end.
Good. Then let's begin the preparations.
Okay, and what can I do?
We need information, so the more we know about the demon, the better.
We already have his name, so we can address him. Do you know any more about him?
What would be important?
It would be good to know how he sinned. And a personal item. Something that anchors him in this world.
Then I'll get searching.
But be quick. I'll prepare everything with the priest.
I definitely won't find anything to do with Mordred there.
Good day, sir.
Edward, I completely forgotten about him. Hi, Edward. I didn't expect you so soon.
If it's inconvenient, I could come back another time.
Do you notice anything about me?
What do you mean, sir?
Around my eyes, perhaps?
With respect, sir, they're perhaps a touch darker than normal. Temporary indisposition, I assume.
I wish. Why are you here again?
You said I should come by during the course of the day, about an eventual position as butler.
Oh, yes. Excuse me, Edward. As you see, I don't really have time just now, and...
Perhaps I can help you.
Actually, there is something. It would be great if you could deliver this letter to Inspector Spooner. Tell him I found it while tidying up the greenhouse.
Of course, sir.
You're not going to tell anyone else about it. The thing with my eyes, I mean?
Most certainly not, sir. Discretion is the most important virtue of a butler.
Good man. In other circumstances, he'd be the perfect new Bates. The castle looks really threatening from here. An empty letterbox. Hello, Madame Fortuna.
Adrian, I knew you would call again.
Who else could it be?
Pick a card.
Stop.
I've drawn the Hierophant for you.
Hero... huh?
The Hierophant. He is also called the Shaman, the Pope, or the High Priest, Adrian. You will receive the assistance of a higher power.
The only question being, which one?
And I see death.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, one moment. Now, what has the tower lost here then? Now I've gone and dropped all my cards. Just a minute, Adrian.
Could that maybe mean now that I'm gonna fall from a high tower?
No. How do you come to have a silly idea like that? Ah, now then. I can see it clearly. Death will touch you. Or also, maybe not.
Okay, that's enough. Thanks. Hey, I definitely know that from somewhere. The Guardian's highest virtue is faith, as much in himself as in God. These notes, who's writing them to me? Am I writing them myself? Or Mordred? Even if the pages are blank, maybe the book will be useful for the exorcism. Who knows? It did once belong to Mordred, after all. Maybe this was the book that Victoria meant as she was dying. She said that everything was in the book. Damn it, Valentina. I was never able to find it like that. I don't have the time to read everything, but at first glance, it looks like it's just full of stories about the White Lady. It even tells here about how she died. In the final duel with my brother, she threw herself between us to stop the bloodshed, but he was no longer the brother I once knew. The evil had corrupted him too much. How great must this power have been to make him forget all of the battles in which we had fought together side by side. How incessantly overpowering must the evil be to make him forget just how much he had loved his wife Maria. His blade pierced her heart and snapped as though it were made from glass. That was also the end of my brother. But then with his final breath, he cursed me and all my descendants. I killed my brother. I will never be able to forgive myself for that. His final resting place will be in our chapel. May God have mercy on his soul. That must be a transcript from Marcus's writings. The book from the ritual chamber. No idea how I got this. But that doesn't matter anyway. Many pages are empty.
Ah, Adrian, there you are.
Father Frederick.
My son?
Mordred's wife was called Maria.
Ah, that's good to know. Those are worldly, familial things. I'm sure we can address Mordred with that, particularly if he loved her.
Well, he murdered her with a sword.
Oh, that's excellent. For our purposes, I mean. Is that all you have found out?
I found a book that belonged to Mordred, but all the pages are blank.
How do you know it belonged to him, then?
It's from his grave.
We can divert his attention from you with it. You'd better give that to me. Now we have enough information.
Okay, so what happens now?
Just lie down here and trust in Jesus, our Lord. Miss Antolini, are you recording?
This is the exorcism of 𝘂𝙁 Gordon. Present are Father Frederick, pastor of the Church of Wormhill, as conducting exorcist, and as witness and doctor, Prioress Valentina Antolini.
It has begun. Let us pray.
In nomine
Patris,
Patris,
et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti.
Amen.
Amen. Most glorious Prince of the heavenly armies, Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in our battle against principalities and powers, against the rulers of this world of darkness, against the spirits of wickedness in the high places. Come to the assistance of men whom God has created to his likeness, and whom he has redeemed at a great price from the tyranny of the devil. We know your name, demon, you that calls itself Mordred. Release Adrian, I command you in the name of our Lord.
Stoop down, impure spirit.
Mordred, you who made yourself guilty during life and therefore remain guilty in death and beyond, go to the hell in which you belong. Go into purgatory, where you should burn sinner for all your deeds.
Behold the cross of the Lord.
Mordred, you who has raised a weapon against your brother Marcus, you who murdered your wife with a blade of your sword, Maria, whose soul has found no peace since then.
Behold the cross of the Lord.
Guilty you are, Mordred, and guilty you will always be. Bow beneath the all-powerful hand of God. Release Adrian and go there where you can receive the vengeance of God.
Father Frederick.
I saw him. He spoke to me. It's the wrong place. There's nowhere for him to go here. Not from this world.
Oh, Father. Adrian. Adrian, wake up! Thank you again for helping me bring Adrian to the castle.
But of course, miss. Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, not at the moment.
Then I'll come over again tomorrow. Have a nice day.
See you. As long as Adrian's still asleep, I should let the Archbishop know about the current state of affairs. Your Grace, this is Prior Santolini. There were complications. The exorcism failed. No, I don't think that was the reason. Yes. Yes, but that only makes sense if the demon is unknown. Correct, Your Grace. We underestimated his strength. Father Frederick is dead. He was thrown across the room, and Okay. No. The Guardian is doing well considering the circumstances. Yes, Your Grace. I understand. I also think that the location is crucial. The Guardian had an image of Pictish glyphs with him, the same as those engraved on the Shade portal. That's exactly where the demon must be forced back. Yes, into the Black Mirror. It'll be no problem to get there. The demon itself tries to force its way to the mirror. It's drawn to it like a magnet. He won't cause us any problems until then. On the contrary, Guardian and demon will be hard to keep apart. Yes, that's the other side of the coin. But, Your Grace, the man is probably the only one who can fulfill this task. Yes. Is there an alternative to exorcism? Of course, I'll do that. All right then. First, I have to find the entrance to the catacombs under the castle. A chapel is mentioned in the records, which is found down there. That's where I guess the Black Mirror is. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Your Grace. Thank you. Good. As long as Adrian is still asleep, I can start looking for a way in. Most secret passageways in old walls have the characteristic of not being sealed completely airtight. That could help me. The Gordon family tree. Many of the Guardians were women: Isabella, Emily, Rosa, but also Marcus Gordon, Albert, and Durham. There are records on them in the Vatican Library. The last entry is from 1923. It notes the handing over of the Guardian position to Victoria Gordon. Right at the front of the file is a copy of a letter from Marcus Gordon. In it, he says that the entrance to the Shade portal is sealed with an altar. The underground chapel was consecrated and prevents the Shades from entering the catacombs. The Bible gave me much strength when I needed it. I think everyone should read it at least once. I let the dictaphone run during the exorcism. I can't understand a word, even though I understand quite a few languages. But that must be a very, very old one. Matches. They're from a cafe in London where I met the Archbishop a few days ago. It's for an emergency, in case... Yeah, well, Mordred attacks me. The floor of the library is higher than the rest of the rooms on the ground floor. Perhaps the secret entrance is hidden under it, or maybe just old-fashioned underfloor heating. The floor, perhaps this... Mainly lexicons and biographies about British lords. I found the book about the Guardians here. There's only English literature here. Shakespeare, etc. I've already read them all. A mighty pillar. The wooden cladding is decorated with carvings. There were still some old tiles stored in the cellar. If no one had saved them back then the whole floor would have had to been relaid. I don't see any way to get through this door. I wanted the rabble to be stored in the hall, so that the kids that sometimes meet outside the castle don't injure themselves. But I didn't think it would be so much. I once saw such a huge globe in the museum in Moscow. It was also made of metal. I remember that Australia was only half depicted on it, because they hadn't yet mapped it out completely when they made it. The entrance to the catacombs used to be under the foundation stone, but Marcus had it sealed off. Now it's only a cellar down there. There are only Victoria's papers here. Bank statements, bills, and so on. They're of no use. Black mold. According to Greg, it was caused by the extinguishing water, which offers an excellent breeding ground for molds once it's soaked into the walls. Greg was going to repair the grandfather clock, but he never got around to it. A statue of the Virgin Mary. She was venerated for her humility and her firm belief in God. I didn't even like horses when I was a little girl. I prefer small animals. A plain marble pedestal. I almost like it more than the sculpture on it. Paintings tell a lot about the period in which they were painted. Fortunately, these ones weren't too badly damaged by the fire. When I first came here, this room wasn't being used. I've had everything that's still usable brought into here. Adrian is still asleep. I'll leave him in peace. Lately, Victoria was always very vigilant when I was in the room. I hardly had the chance to have a look around. Well, she'd understand now. Those are all things that were close to Victoria's heart. But there's nothing of interest to me there, though. There's only jewelry in here. 2 necklaces, a pair of earrings, and rings. It's all silver and stylish. Huh. The jewelry case weighs at least 5 kilos. And what is that? There's some kind of flap on the underside. But how do I open it? I can't see any keyhole or anything like that. I'll show it to Adrian as soon as he's awake. Perhaps he knows something about it. Even though she was really ill in her final days, she still set great store in keeping a well-groomed appearance. Victoria's dressing room. The only area in this room I could have a look at. But in vain, though. There really are only clothes here. I completely forgot about the machines. As soon as all of this is over, I'll have them picked up. Just a minute. There's a syringe here with adrenaline in it. I'll take it with me just in case of an emergency. The image of a beautiful woman. I'm thinking that must be Maria. The wonderful cutlery didn't survive the fire very well. I've stored the remains in boxes upstairs. The source of the fire was here in the kitchen. The room up there was the butler's room, I think. I was almost killed by a ceiling beam during the first inspection with the workmen. That's why there are supports in here. I'm sure there's wine stored in these barrels. A dustpan and brush. These are clearly too small for the current condition of the castle. The electricity in the cellar has been turned off for safety reasons, so unfortunately the light switch doesn't work. Creepy darkness. That reminds me of something very unpleasant from my childhood in the convent. The main switch for the cellar. The electricity has been switched off completely for safety reasons. Can't get any further here. The corner's just a last resting place for junk. The wine barrels have been empty for decades. The last generation of Gordons were tea drinkers. The sewer system under the castle couldn't deal with all that firefighting water. 3 weeks ago, the water in the cellar was still up to my knees. It'll be months before anyone will be able to access the sewer system without diving equipment. The well seems to be dry. A water pump. The workmen brought it with them to pump out the cellar. This was actually only rented for a week. The flame is burning uniformly. The flame is burning uniformly. There we go. The flame flickers here. There's a draft. And this room has no windows. I guess there's a cavity behind or in the pillar. But how do I get at it? Why didn't I think of that sooner? This plate can be removed. There's a metal wall behind it. And there's a strangely shaped hole in it too. A keyhole, I guess. The hole is the shape of a cogwheel. A normal key definitely doesn't fit in here. I won't be able to open the secret door with the dagger. Victoria's jewelry casket. There's a kind of secret compartment on the bottom side, but I can't open it. Adrian, how are you doing?
Hungover. What happened?
You suddenly lost consciousness during the exorcism.
Did it work? Is Mordred gone? What about my eyes? Are they still black?
Your eyes are normal again, at least for the moment. But I'm afraid that it won't stay like that for long.
I guessed as much. Why am I in the castle? I thought it wasn't safe here.
That's true, but I had no other choice. Edward helped me bring you here.
Edward? And where is Father Frederick?
He's still in the church. We're going back to him, Nate. There were a few complications.
So, it didn't work?
Unfortunately not. It doesn't seem Mordred can be cast out with prayers alone.
Strange. It always seems to work in the movies.
Maybe it was the wrong script.
The Bible. Yeah.
Father Frederick is out of it. Mordred's power was too much for him. We'll have to be quick if we're going to save you.
What are we waiting for then? I feel almost good. At least I'm ready for the final spurt.
I have another idea of how we can get rid of Mordred. But for that, we must go to the Black Mirror, where the curse began.
Where everything began. Victoria told me exactly that, shortly before she died. I should go to where everything began, but I've got no idea where that is and how to get there.
I found something interesting in the library. I think it's some kind of secret door to the catacombs.
A secret door in the library? Let me guess. It's locked, right? and you've got no idea how to open it.
I was hoping you could help me.
Why not? I haven't got anything else planned.
Have you got any idea how to open this? I mean the secret compartment on the bottom. Seems to be a very complicated mechanism. Yes, of course, there's that way too. There's nothing to discuss with Adrian right now. A golden sword hilt from Victoria's jewelry casket. It's decorated with 4 gemstones, probably rubies. There's a 5th socket there too, but it seems there's a stone missing. The sword hilt fits perfectly, but nothing happens.
Valentina.
Yes.
The room in which Mordred crossed over into me. Do you know anything about it?
What kind of room is it?
A kind of ritual chamber. Skulls everywhere, a throne.
They investigated a ritual chamber in the old academy, but all the records were lost in a fire around 1512. And the knowledge of it was lost in the process as well. So no, I know even less about it than you do.
So what actually is this black mirror then?
We think it's a kind of portal.
And where does it lead?
Nobody knows exactly, and it's a dangerous thing to investigate. Mordred tried, but the black mirror enslaved them. Pope Innocent III believed it might lead to the destruction of Christianity. What we know for sure is that it's older than anything else on Earth.
I thought it might have been built by pagan druids or something like that.
It's much, much older than that. The druids used it for ceremonies, yes, but they definitely didn't build it. It's been there since the dawning of time, so they say.
Holy crap. So what is it then?
We can only speculate. The mirror attracts evil, or how should I put it? Absorbs it. According to the old druidic scriptures, there were regular human sacrifices. Apparently, the altar table in front of the Black Mirror portal was already drenched in century-old blood back then. The souls of the sacrifices are drawn into the mirror, but only if they're absolutely evil. The soul of a good person cannot enter the mirror. It seems to be something like... yes, like...
The gateway to hell, perhaps?
yes. And no, not just the gate, but the mirror too. Glancing into it reveals the innermost self. It reflects the soul for everyone to see.
I wonder what the Pope would see if he looked into it. And all the dignitaries of the world. No wonder the entrance has to be guarded. But times have changed. Why don't we just have a look at the thing? Purely scientifically, I mean.
Evil can also break out of the mirror. Its effect is unbound. You can feel its power yourself. Who's ever susceptible is enticed into evil. That's why life in the castle is so dangerous. It's right within its sphere. Mordred was changed. The spark of evil that always smoldered within him was fanned into a blazing fire. He did everything he could to open the portal. Rumors suggest that he almost found the mechanism.
Valentina,
Yes.
someone's leaving me messages describing the virtues of a guardian. You don't happen to know anything about that, do you?
I wrote them. They were tests to see if you could become the next guardian in spite of the curse. I had assumed that apart from Victoria, there was only Angelina, but she was nowhere to be found. There was no time. Victoria lay on her deathbed. She was the last guardian. It had to be settled. When we heard that you were maintaining that you were a Gordon and were also innocent of any crime, then the Vatican changed its plan. We had to assure ourselves that you were still of pure heart, and you passed all the tests.
But you weren't there.
True. I wasn't there.
All right, Miss Undercover. I think we still need something here for the sword hilt to work.
It's not working. You think that's because of the missing gemstone?
Could be possible. The question is, where is this stone? Could be anywhere. Could have been lost hundreds of years ago.
I don't think so. If the key had been broken for a long time, why did Victoria hide it? No. I think the stone is missing intentionally, as an added safeguard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but where should we start looking?
Did Victoria give you anything before she died? An heirloom, jewelry, a signet ring?
Not to me, but Angelina.
What?
Her bracelet, she showed it to me. Yes, I remember well. There were rubies on it, too. Perhaps we need one of them?
And where is the bracelet now?
The police evidence locker.
Then get it. We don't have much time.
Strange. It's never been so quiet here before.
Adrian! It's done. Case closed. Angelina's letter convinced the judge completely.
Some good news.
A lot more than that. And is there anything I can do for you?
Now with the case closed, all of the pieces of evidence are no longer required, right?
In theory, not anymore, no.
Then it wouldn't be a problem if I got the bracelet back. You do know that it's a family heirloom.
I'll see what I can do.
Thanks.
Zach!
Hmm? Please.
How's it looking with your transfer?
Now that's lying on my boss's desk. And knowing him like I did, he's gonna let me stew for a while. But it'll come through sooner or later.
Goodbye.
Fare thee well, my lord.
I'll just leave him in peace for now. The shop's already closed. Closed for business. the pub's closed. The owner's on the run. I don't want to bump into Joyce looking like this. She's always believed in the good in me. I don't want to shake that belief. Someone's broken the door in with an axe by the look of it. Damn. Looks as though Tom has been here. Ugh. God damn it. There are some things you just don't want to see. I'd better get out of here.
Rain, rain, go away. Tomorrow will be a rainy day.
Damn.
Then comes the snow. Don't you know?
Ralph? That you? Ralph!
I was only playing with him.
Ralph! What happened? Am I hearing voices of the dead? Or was that really Ralph? Inspector Spooner.
Yep.
Any new developments in the Tom case?
None. That piece has disappeared. Not even Bobby's seen anything of him.
Would it affect your transfer if you found him?
What a question. Of course it would. The faster the... Hey, you've not just...
Well, if I were you, when it stops raining, I'd get myself over to the shack in the woods, over at Warm Hill, and, take a closer look around.
Ha! Have you actually found his hiding place? If things get too boring for you up at the castle, I could do with a good constable.
Thanks, but, I've had to answer to a higher calling. Goodbye.
Fare thee well, my lord.
There are some steps below that lead behind the hotel, but at night you can hardly see anything. I better stay here. No, it'd be better for both Murray and me if we don't see each other in the near future. Spooner locked up. Bill's dead. The tank's empty. That seals the car's fate, then. I don't think trudging through the swamp in the night is a good idea. No, I'd rather go there by daylight. A bear trap. It's called mammoth. What the hell are they hunting here? I can't make out the luminous stickers anymore. It's much too dangerous. Ralph has got his revenge. No thanks. It looks worse than a butcher's shop in there. Valentina.
Yes.
Here. It was really easy.
Those really are the same stones. Now we just need to break one out without damaging it.
A whole load of photos of my family, with a grave candle in front of them. And then what have we got here? A pair of pliers. I'll take those and the candle. I don't need the other stuff right now. One ruby's enough. The ruby fits exactly into the socket on the hilt of the sword. There's a spiral staircase here. You can't see how far down it goes. There has to be a good few stories. Ladies first.
Are you scared? Or are you exercising your role as Lord of the Manor?
The Guardian isn't allowed to die. Those were your words. I'm just playing it safe. That's supposed to be the catacombs? Looks like the sewer system.
Patience. This is just the beginning.
Sunglasses? They've got to be from Edward. Actually, an umbrella would be better right now. But what the hell? An empty letterbox. Sunglasses. Probably from Edward, or my black eyes. There's not much use for the map. There are hieroglyphics etched all around here. Did the druids build these walls? Here's an illustration of a house and a jar. Here's a pitchfork and a flower. There's a bird and a head chiseled in here. There's a fish and a hand on this column. A hefty chain. It's hanging into the water. In this environment, there can only be a whirlpool. Huh, the water's been standing there for some time. I reckon that's the remains of the water from putting out the fire. At any rate, it's not normal sewage. The whole thing could be some kind of cistern. It collects rainwater from all over the castle. It's brought here and then goes stagnant. No, there has to be an outflow somewhere as well. I think that's supposed to be a house, or a shack. A bird relief. Valentina,
Yes.
do any of these symbols around us mean anything to you?
These symbols look like Pictish glyphs. Obviously an ancient form of writing. More than 6,000 years old. So, I'm wondering what business have they got being on these walls?
Maybe one of my ancestors thought they looked nice? Do you know what they mean?
Sort of. But don't ask me how you vocalize them.
I can't see any other exit here. Can you?
Looks like we're in a dead-end street.
But it can't be, though. It has to continue somewhere. Maybe there's another secret passage.
Certainly not out of the question. Keep your eyes open. That's most strange. What are Pictish glyphs doing here on English medieval walls? Death on its own without any other glyphs isn't a good sign. The house in connection with an amphora. That could mean a store. Amphoras were used back then like barrels are today. An earlier version of a torch, and I've never seen this symbol before. A bird usually represents the death of a person, and we've got the head which fits with this, from whoever. The fish is the symbol for the first day after a new moon. With a hand, though, that doesn't make sense. The house in a circle. That's a new one for me. That could point to a family property or inheritance. The chain comes out of the shaft and disappears into the water. A swimming pool for cellar ghosts? I don't understand why that's supposed to be here. There's standing water throughout the whole drainage system. Maybe the outflow's blocked somewhere. There's nothing to discuss with Adrian right now.
Hello, Madame Fortuna.
Adrian, I knew you would call again.
Who else could it be?
Pick a card.
Stop.
I draw the death card.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Adrian, don't worry. Death means that you'll release yourself from all the ties. You'll experience a transformation.
Well, that certainly cheered me up.
And I see death. A lightning bolt. A bolt flashes down on you. Stop. The death card again. Adrian, the cards are correcting me. I see a deluge, which will suffocate you. Oh, no. Oh, another death card. Adrian, I see darkness. You will be devoured by darkness.
How many death cards have you actually got there?
Just one in the major arcana. Oh, I've mixed up several tarot packs. That must have happened yesterday. Oh, no. I'm sorry, Adrian. I have to call someone back urgently.
A candle for the dead. Empty. I'm guessing that they used to store wine or beer here back in the day. Those days are long gone, though. There's a thick electric cable hanging from the roof, just above a puddle of water. Craig was right. It isn't safe down here. I need more light. A construction light, just like the ones all around the castle, except without any power. There are no power sockets down here. So now I've got the option to connect something up down there. Here's the end of the extension cable. Energy. Boxes of empty wine bottles. Just in case there's a life for me after Mordred, I'm gonna give this castle a real cleanup and throw it all of this old junk. Well, I'll hand the job over to Edward, of course. There are drains under the puddles, but the sewer system couldn't cope with the huge volume of extinguishing water. The water isn't draining away anymore. A shelf of wine bottles. As far as I can tell, they're all still full. 1953. Either extremely valuable or completely disgusting. There are only busted boxes and barrels back there. I guess that's the main switch for the electricity in the cellar. Who needs fuses if you've got such a big lever? Cellars are often used as the last resting place for all sorts of heavy junk. And it's no different in British castles. At first glance, there's nothing useful leaping out at me here. At the second one, too. Must be a seriously heavy water bucket if you need a chain like that to lift it. Valentina! Can you hear me?
Yes?
That's the water pump, which they use to pump away the extinguishing water. It's a real monster, and ancient, too. I'm surprised that thing even works. I think that's the power connection for the water pump. I guess there were no power plugs back then. Oh, that's just one pole. Does this thing use direct current? So I wonder where you attach the other pole. You can turn the pump on and off with that. You can even adjust the direction of rotation and the speed. Theoretically, I could pump the cellar full of water again, slowly or quickly. There are 2 huge water basins here. They must go back to when they had no running water. The wire rope is wrapped tightly around the pipe. I guess it's an earth for the water pump. Or is it the second pole? No idea what kind of pipes those are. Water or sewage, I guess. I'll put the cable into the connecting terminal on the pump. Quite a clear design. The motor's on the right, the pump device is on the left. The two are connected with a long shaft. The innards of a water pump. Nothing's happening. There are metal grates lying around the well. No idea what they're for. The power cable is now hanging through the grill and straight into the water. If I wrap the chain around the drive shaft, I could use the water pump as a winch. I hope the motor's powerful enough. Nothing's happening. If it weren't for me being a former student of physics, I'd call that kind of action suicide. Now, the end of the cable's hanging directly in the water. bucket is half full of a white salt, probably for when it's icy. I'll take a handful of grit salt with me, just in case I have to help some old grandma cross an icy street. I'll give the pepper and chilies a miss. The puddle's seasoned enough. I wouldn't know what I might ask her. The electricity is on. I should be careful where I step. I can't wind the chain anymore. Something's blocked.
I'm impressed.
I should first check out what I've just pulled up. I wouldn't know what I might ask her. So far, everything has worked wonderfully. No reason to turn off the electricity. The well shaft leads directly down to the catacombs. Damn, and I thought I'd pulled the plug out of the bath. What the heck's a cage doing down here in the middle of the catacombs? Valentina,
Yes.
what do you think's going on with this cage?
I don't think that's a cage in the usual sense.
How come? Isn't it a wonderful torture device, especially with the water?
Oh, right. So that's your interpretation of a normal cage usage.
Don't forget, I'm being possessed by an 800-year-old tyrant. Here's an illustration of a house and a job. Good to know. I could lock up unwelcome visitors in here.
It really would have been better to have taken a hotel room. That's too dangerous. I'm not going to know up here what Adrian's doing down there. If he's in a cage, he could drown. I'll fasten the rope up here so we don't lose it. Then I'll drop the free end down the well.
If I pull on the rope, that ought to be visible up above.
Adrian?
Hmm?
I've got the rope hanging down the well. We could communicate with that. Just pull on it and I'll switch on the winch.
Good idea.
The rope's hanging in the well. I'll wait on Adrian's signal.
Okay, hold your breath. There's a mechanism down there for, well, I don't actually know what, but I think it continues on there. That was close. It's just getting better and better here.
Adrian? Adrian! Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything's fine. I'm okay. Just a little touch and go, that's all.
Is everything really? Wow. I've never seen anything like this. Isn't that just so impressive?
Well, I'm so glad you like my humble wine cellar. I'm so close to where I want to be. Why should I turn around? A rusty helmet. Somebody probably lost it. A stone coffin, I'm thinking.
What are you doing?
I'm opening the coffin?
Have you ever heard of rest in peace?
What? When there could be something inside that's vital to our mission?
I just don't think this is right. Not one bit.
I can't get the lid open any further, but it's moved enough to see inside. Pretty damn dusty. There's not much left of the corpse. There's an arrowhead in here. Still looks pretty good. I'm gonna take that with me. Someone really put some work in on this. The arrowhead is finely crafted. Now that's what I call a door. Solid stone with iron bands and 6 locks. There's something different about this tablet. There's only one of these reliefs here. A strange death's head with a huge mouth? No idea what that's supposed to be. 7 people standing around the place. Oh no, 3 of them are lying down. Are they sleeping or are they dead? A whole load of symbols. Fish, crown, no idea, bones, and so on. There's a rusty broken sword lying on the ground here. No idea how that could have got here.
Oh, forged by an expert hand. Simple, precise, and deadly.
Adrian, what have you got there?
Regrettable that the passing of time has taken its toll on such a fine weapon. It's no more than a rusty bar of steel. Yet the hilt has lasted well. I will.
Adrian,
What?
what's happening to you?
I've no idea. I must have blacked out. I'm back now. There are 6 long chains hanging against the wall, running from floor to ceiling, and then they disappear into holes. And there are some kind of capsules hanging on the chains. There's a weird disc thing lying among the bones.
That looks like a round shield a warrior might use.
This thing looks a bit like a Viking shield, but it's too small for that. A ginormous statue of a guy with a sword, without a head. Could that be Mordred? Looks like an offering dish to me. Oops. There's a small boat here. A little wooden boat. Reminds me a bit of a children's toy. Something's sticking out of the dust. A piece of jewelry, shaped like a fish. A little metal fish. Could also be a toy. There are only a few bones in here, nothing else. Hieroglyphic after hieroglyphic, as far as the eye can see. A hole the size of a hand. No idea how deep it is. It seems to continue here. Valentina, you coming?
Wait,
Yeah?
you see that there?
Yeah. Those aren't hieroglyphics.
That's Latin. Your ancestors must have written that.
And what does it say exactly?
A warning. Beware, guardians of the shades. They will take possession of your soul as soon as you venture into the dark.
Shades? Is that some kind of metaphor?
No, I don't think so. In the Book of Guardians, it said that Marcus had to battle through an army of shades that his brother had summoned out from the mirror.
Makes sense. First Mordred, now Shades. Well, my soul's not gonna get bored, that's for sure. There's a metal capsule hanging between the chain links. Is that a little door? Oh, it is a door. And inside the capsule, there's a golden key. Or maybe just gilded. A golden key from one of the capsules. No idea how that works. Looks like some kind of a scale, and it's connected to these chains. Now, what should I weigh? Another gold key. think I'm still missing something. Looks like all of the capsules have gold keys in them. I've got no idea how many of them there are. I really ought to find out what's going on with all this stuff.
There's no going back. We have to find the Black Mirror. A helmet like the Crusaders wore in the 13th century. I'd love to know who lost this one here. That looks like a drawbridge mechanism, or something like that. A very strange depiction. What can it mean? Ah, I'm sure that represents the Black Mirror. The death's head is symbolic of death. 7 people, all a little different. Could they perhaps represent different societal groups from their time back then? 3 people are lying down, 4 are standing. In the middle, there's an altar chiseled in. I don't know all the symbols, but they seem to be describing something. At least it looks like they've been divided into 7 groups. Perhaps each of the symbol sequences describes one of the people on the upper half. The hieroglyphics have lasted well. I wish I had time to examine them more closely. Perhaps when all of this is over. I'd better leave this to Adrian. That's an offering dish. So this statue is probably a representation of a pre-Christian god. I've never seen a statue like that before. Could the Gordons have put it there? Or is it much older? This place would be an archaeologist's dream. Adrian? The hieroglyphics on the wall seem to be describing certain things which were dangerous for them back in those days.
Bread being important I can get. But a bone?
No, I don't mean each symbol on its own, but a row of symbols describes a person, for example.
So like, bread would belong to a baker then?
Yes, but it can also describe other people. Bread was baked by bakers, sold by traders, and also then eaten at some point.
Does it say how you get the door open as well?
Right now I don't see any connection.
A couple of sticks of dynamite could come in handy right now.
I doubt it. It has to be the case that only people of pure heart can go further down. Dynamite is a somewhat brutal option. I see. The Gordons seem to take their guardian duties very seriously. You're not going to get past this door all too easily.
I wouldn't know what I might ask her. What's that? A map?
Yes, it could be a map of this place.
This is one proper labyrinth. Where now? Straight ahead or to the right?
Did you see that? In the room ahead?
What is that?
No idea, but it's moving.
Is that one of those shades?
Whatever it is, we shouldn't get too close to it. Be a good idea to close the door.
Huh? How did you know that the switch was the right one?
I didn't. That's what you call putting your faith in God.
There are Roman numerals in the rooms. I can feel something dark in this room. I need Valentina's help for that. Dust, bones, and a crown. That has to be a king's grave.
Or a thief's. One that stole a king's crown.
A little crown. But it's heavy. Very heavy for its size. I need Valentina's help for that. Nothing. The coffin's empty. Ugh, the whole niche is full of human skulls. Well, not quite. Here's a bowl, rather nicely decorated. An ornate bowl made of brass or some other metal. Everywhere, these weird green lights. There's only dust in here. Oh, and a weird-shaped staff.
Looks like it could be like the ones that the bishops carry, or shepherds.
No idea what that is. Perhaps a wand. dish is hanging right in the middle. Now all the capsules are hanging level. Something tells me that the keys in there have to be the right ones. The locks are all undone. We ought to be able to open the door now. Walls full of skulls. Who were these dead people and where are their bones? Did someone just take their heads? How come? And why are all the statues headless? Is there a connection? The closer we come to the truth, the more questions seem to come up. The guy with no head again. This time, ×4. Did somebody not like him all that much? 𝘾𝙗𝙖𝙦, maybe? He went round with his sword going chop, chop, chop. That goes a hell of a long way down. This light reminds me of the cavern under the stone circle. Could there be a huge cave system under Willow Creek? Highway to hell. Damn, the route is crumbling. I hope it's gonna hold out for a bit.
That's a whole lot of skulls in the wall. They're lying in there like a vast set of print blocks, or something like that. Almighty, eternal God, I pray for the souls of all those who have been robbed of their peace in death for all these hundreds of years. Lord in heaven, hold your protecting hand over them, even if they were not Christians, for your love is boundless and eternal. Amen. The headless figures again. It's looking to me like the statues didn't have heads right from the start. Whoever they are supposed to represent, he certainly didn't have much to offer from the shoulders upwards. Mamma mia, I had no idea how big everything was. The bridge has been holding up for centuries. It ought to last a little bit longer. I think we've reached the chapel.
I almost feel like I've come home here.
No, this chapel was built by Marcus and Mordred. It was their last cooperative work. It really is a sacred place.
But Mordred used it for his own dark purposes.
I doubt that.
A stone coffin with a skeleton in it.
If we were to believe the Book of the Guardians, that was once Mordred.
Hey Mordred, how does it feel to be looking into your own grave?
Huh, you two are getting closer. Please excuse me. A stone coffin. Only this one's completely plain and doesn't look anything like the ancient ones in the catacombs. According to the Book of Guardians, Mordred was buried here.
Mordred's grave. A skeleton?
Those are Maria's remains, Mordred's wife.
How do you know that?
That's a female skeleton. And you can see the sword tip in the ribcage. It broke off when Mordred murdered his wife.
You're right.
Kind of unearthly. The water seems to be lit up, but I can't see a light source. Marcus Gordon did a great job. He wanted to use this great bulwark of an altar to properly seal up all the spirits his brother summoned. But Mordred had left himself a back door. The passage probably used to lead up to the altar. There's a sentence in Latin chiseled here. It means, "At sunrise, the king sent his warriors into battle against the darkness." Unusual for an altar engraving.
Is that any use to us?
I don't know. Perhaps.
No idea how deep the water is here, but I'm guessing that we're a long way below the water level. The purest preaching platform. But for what kind of an audience? Nobody was supposed to find their way here. Everything's very weird. This passage is full of rubble. There's a whole bunch of hieroglyphics on the altar. You can press in these hieroglyphics. Most probably in a certain sequence. Valentina,
Yes.
you know what's weird? There's light everywhere down here. Even burning candles.
Everything seems to be rather unearthly.
Especially with all the lights.
It could be that they come on when a certain door is open. But when was the mechanism for that installed? And by whom?
Or we're not the only ones who are wandering about down here.
Whatever the case, we still haven't reached our goal. Marcus thought that the way to the Black Mirror had been closed forever with the chapel.
But he hadn't reckoned with the genius of his brother.
Are you starting to admire Mordred?
Just take a look around. The castle up there suddenly seems tiny compared to all this down here. It's so imposing and overwhelming even. Kinda majestic. The vaulted roof is just awesome, don't you think?
I don't think we should waste too much time hanging around.
Wow.
We're definitely not in the catacombs anymore. This looks more like an alchemy laboratory.
I've been here before.
Mordred?
No, as a child. I've got a kind of faint memory of it.
Have a look around. Perhaps it'll come back to you more strongly.
Yeah. That's it. That's the hole that Angelina fell into as a child. I climbed in after her, but it's blocked up now. No wonder I couldn't find it up on the surface.
And how did you two get back out of there? Through the catacombs?
No. Bates. Oh, it was him. He got us out and then filled in the hole. But before that, we were at the portal. We were standing right in front of it. It's behind this door.
Had Angelina opened it?
I'm not sure anymore. That's a depiction of a soul key. Prima materia, planet metals, basilisk. Welcome to Discworld. That definitely must have looked nicer way back when, but it's very solidly built. If it had been damper down here, then the beams would have rotted away ages ago.
These are the best blades in the land, forged by the most skillful of smiths. Much too good for those butchers that my brother calls soldiers.
Adrian, you're scaring me. Please, put that away.
And yet, they're nothing compared to my sword.
Adrian, stop it!
Huh? What?
It's all right. Everything's okay. Just put the sword down and then everything will be fine. From now on, we'll have to watch out you don't pick up a sword again, okay? You're not going to go near a sword again, Adrian. Do you understand? We don't want you having an accident or anything, do we?
Okay, Sister Valentina. Is there a reason you're talking to me like some kind of wacko?
None. Apart from the fact that you look like one and are behaving like one. Your eyes have turned black again, and you're fiddling about with a sword, and you're speaking like Mordred. Now then, please do us both a favor and keep your fingers away from sharp-edged weapons.
Whoa, a real witch's kitchen. Mordred would definitely have ended up being burned at the stake sooner or later. Aw, Mordred's tea kettle. How cute. Ruler of the underworld or not, 5 o'clock was tea time. Oh, maybe there are some 800-year-old homemade cookies here too. Whoa, a real witch's kitchen. A lectern. What kind of a book is that? A monoculus pater omnis delesmi totius? Ugh, no idea. All in Latin. There are water basins everywhere here. Mordred must have been a bit of a clean freak. Those are really nasty-looking gargoyles. Worse than those fiendish things from the Academy. Great. Even more tea kettles.
A considerable sword collection. Mordred must have been quite a weapons appassionato. They must have the 𝘾𝙗𝙖𝙥𝙗𝙧𝙧 here, the fundamental text for alchemy. Eco. Here it is. The 𝘾𝙗𝙧 tablet, the alchemist's Bible. But I'd better not touch the book. It would fall apart at the smallest touch, like nearly everything here. The beams don't seem to be weight-bearing elements. But what are they for then? Perhaps they had damp cloth stretched across them, because of the smoke that would always be coming from the alchemy experiments. Could represent a scepter. A stove. The shaft once led outside, so there was a shortcut then. That's not ordinary soil. Looks like there's tar mixed in with it. Somebody wanted to be sure. The book is open at the homunculus chapter. Is that a coincidence, or was Mordred busy creating an artificial life? Strange. A really fine alchemy laboratory. There's virtually everything there that they used to use back then. But I doubt that Mordred was interested in creating gold. The flasks point rather more to him being a blender of poisons. A sublimation vessel for using an athame, a special alchemist's oven. I've never seen such a good one before. Bellissima. Hacked out to the stone wall and filled with groundwater. Ought to be drinkable. Only the lighting makes me a little suspicious. Interesting stonemasonry. The faces are supported by hands. Even more cupels and serpentines. This is where Mordred mixed his recipes.
That's the tip of Mordred's sword. When Maria stood in the way, he murdered her. The tip broke off in the process and stuck in her chest. So how did Angelina just get in that time? So how did it... Valentina.
Yes.
Have you got any idea what all this machinery and stuff down here is for?
That's a perfectly equipped alchemy laboratory. Mordred was a man of science.
He's certainly not going to be able to help me with my physics studies. Alchemists were only bothered about creating gold.
That's not correct. There were definitely alchemists who worked on other things too.
Oh yeah, opening demon gates. I'd forgotten.
They also tried to concoct healing potions, or the opposites, poisons.
They were definitely more successful at the latter. Are you gonna let me take a look at your dagger?
What? No, definitely not.
I think I know how to open the door. It's quite simple.
All right then. I hope you know what you're doing. What are you doing there?
There was a door in the academy. It could only be opened with the blood of a Gordon. My blood. When I wanted to help Angelina as a child back then, I'd cut myself. That's why I was able to open the door.
Gordon blood. One further reason why only you can be the guardian. Let me go first.
Why?
I don't know what might happen when Mordred sees his beloved mirror again. Think about that thing with the swords.
Okay. it mean? Is that Mordred? Or is that me? Why do I have the urge to touch the mirror?
No, it's Mordred who wants to make you do that. Don't touch the mirror, ever!
Okay.
The reflection shows your soul, and the part of Mordred that's within you.
Mordred? But why does he look like one of these shades?
Mordred's soul is still trapped behind the mirror. What you have in you is the shade of Mordred's soul. We somehow got to send Mordred's soul back into the Black Mirror, and do that without setting it free.
Okay. But how then? Haven't we just had an exorcism that went all wrong?
No, not an exorcism. We need something else. Are you sure there's nothing in Mordred's book you've overlooked?
Yeah, absolutely. I can show it to you if you want. These pages. There's some writing appearing. That must be Mordred's notes. But how come there's something there all of a sudden?
The mirror must have activated it, maybe?
If you believe my ancestors, it's possible that the soul leaves the mirror if the shade is already bound in this world. A reunion of soul and shade would constitute an unimaginable power potential. The soul belonging to the powerful and feared by all King 𝘾𝙗𝙗 is exactly the right one for my son to be made into, and what he would have become if my brother had not blah blah. The guy definitely would have benefited from a few sessions with Dr. Winterbottom. But hold it, there's something else here. Everything is prepared. 𝘾𝙗𝙗's bones lie upon the altar. His shade will soon be bound to them. Nothing more stands in the way of the crossing over of his soul. Now all that has to happen is for the boy to be freed from the yoke of his contaminated soul. Soul transfer. Mordred's soul shade in me. Yes, of course. That's his plan. He's lured me here so that his ritual can be completed, and his soul can cross over into my body. That's exactly what the curse has been for.
Only Mordred hadn't reckoned with his soul shade landing in a guardian's body. That's the only reason you've held out for so long.
But that doesn't help us all that much. If we release this shade that's inside me, Mordred's soul will then enter me.
Shh, Adrian. I think I got an idea. Let me think about it for a minute. Adrian's reflection is a mix of his own soul and Mordred's soul shade. I don't have any better way of describing it. There's absolutely no way Adrian's soul can be allowed to lose the struggle against Mordred's shade. But what is on the other side? Only Mordred's soul? Or has Adrian got one of those soul shades as well? Adrian, can you read me the section about the shades from the Book of the Guardians, please?
The ancients' graves are watched over by their shades. Their fate has been thus for thousands of years now, with no end ever envisaged. They were born in death, and it is death they wish to spread. The ancients forced them into our world. Thus, they don't belong here. They can be neither caught nor appeased. However, the light from the green flame unsettles them. It drives them into the darkness. One should not come too close to them there. Their power is old, very old.
A shade is created in every case when somebody dies, but not in this world, but behind the mirror. It feels like this cavern has been here since the dawn of time. I don't know who or what they're supposed to represent. They're really imposing. I know from the Vatican files that there were human sacrifices here in order to see if their souls were good or evil. The same sort of idea as witch burning. Mordred wrote that a soul could leave the mirror if its shade was already bound here, which is exactly the case here now. So, if Adrian were to die here, then Mordred would win. Adrian's soul would have been freed from eternity, and his body would take on Mordred's soul. But we have to get Mordred's soul shade out of Adrian one way or another. We absolutely have to make sure Mordred's actual soul can't leave the mirror. And Adrian's soul has to stay where it is.
Sounds right. It goes one heck of a long way down. I can't see the bottom. Those are the same statues as in the room with the scales. I'm able to see in my mind everything that happened on this altar. Having Mordred in your head eclipses any horror film, and I don't feel any revulsion. None at all. If Valentina doesn't come up with something soon, he's won. No, I have to pull myself together, or else all of our efforts are going to be in vain. That's what it is then. The Black Mirror, the Shade Portal. There's such an extraordinary attraction coming from it. I've got a persistent urge to look into it. I wouldn't know what I might ask her.
There's nothing to discuss. No. The poison first. And, if everything goes okay, then I'll inject the adrenaline. Adrian, have another look in Mordred's book. Maybe there's more there now.
I did not want him to die. I wanted to save him from his wretched fate. I wanted to make him my son again. My son, no bastard from the loins of my cursed brother. I have kept to the ritual exactly. Everything has worked well, only I was unable to bring a beat back to his heart. I tried everything, all in vain. From now on, I am quite alone. There is no one whom I can initiate. Marcus has taken everything from me, and now I shall take everything from him. I must make haste. My sword. First, I have to conclude the experiment with it. It appears that I have created a shade for it. That could mean that I can use it on the other side. If I succeed in crossing to the other side without dying, then I will rule both sides. Strange as the black stain on the blade, since its contact with the other side, the black is spreading inexorably. Rituals, experiments with a sword. What the hell was Mordred doing here?
It sounds like he was trying out an ancient druidic soul transfer ritual on his own son.
A soul transfer? He simply murdered him.
Does it give the procedure for the ritual in the book by any chance?
No.
I could give 𝘂𝙀𝙗 something to really slow his heartbeat down, like a poison. Then, that would have to free Mordred's soul from 𝘂𝙀𝙗's body. But then, 𝘂𝙀𝙗's soul would be freed as well, and he'd die. It could be possible to resuscitate him with adrenaline. I will only have to give him a small shot into a vein soon after. At that time, Mordred wasn't in a position to do that. Nobody knew about adrenaline back then. Today, it's possible. It's dangerous for sure, but it's the only possibility I can see right now. I'd better not say anything about it to 𝘂𝙀𝙗, for now. 𝘂𝙀𝙗's shade needs a weapon to conquer Mordred, but I'm afraid that an ordinary blade isn't going to do the job. Mordred's already dead, and you can't pass a weapon through the mirror just like that. Wait, 𝘂𝙀𝙗, what was that just now in Mordred's book about his sword?
It says, strange is the black stain on the blade, since its contact with the other side, the black is spreading inexorably. And here, it appears that I have created a shade for it. That could mean that I could use it on the other side.
That's it. We need Mordred's sword.
Can't be all that difficult. Find a sword with a black stain.
Mordred's remains. According to Mordred, he used the bones of the dead to bring their shades into this world and then keep them here. So, we could lure Mordred's shade out of 𝘂𝙀𝙗 by using his bones, just like he once did with that king. 𝘂𝙀𝙗, we need Mordred's bones for the ritual. Can you do that?
Yeah? In one piece?
Just remember how they all go together, and then lay them on the altar in the same layout. Okay, I think I know how we're going to do this.
I can't wait.
Right. The Black Mirror seems to be a portal into another world, a kind of shade world. If a human dies anywhere near the portal, then a shade is born on the other side of the mirror. At the same time, there are two possibilities for that person's soul. If they were of pure heart, their soul shade remains behind the Black Mirror, and their soul...
Fly shade free up to heaven?
It's free, yes, but if that person was evil, then their soul is sucked from their shade into the mirror.
And then?
It's trapped. The souls in the mirror are slaves to the shades. They can become their instruments to be exploited.
Oh, that means that the shades are only evil if their soul was too.
Marcus was supposed to have battled his way through an army of shades before he killed his brother. Mordred has found out how to bring shades through the portal.
Okay, but Mordred's shade is already out. You can see that clearly from my reflection.
Correct. Therefore, his soul is more or less defenseless and alone behind the mirror, and is just waiting until it can come through.
And that might happen if I touch the mirror. Is that it?
We don't want to find out. Therefore, we can bind Mordred's shade to his mortal remains. Doing that stops the shade from getting in our way, at least. And then your shade, 𝘂𝙀𝙗, can take over Mordred's soul. Or even better, destroy it.
My shade? I thought a shade only comes into being when somebody dies.
You do have to die.
Okay. And why didn't you let me jump from the roof then? That would have been more comfortable.
Then you would be irretrievably dead. 𝘂𝙀𝙗, I will resuscitate you. If your body shuts down for a few minutes, your soul will... How can I say this? Be free. I know there are plenty of near-death experience reports which confirm this. A soul shade will generate simultaneously on the other side of the mirror.
Won't that cause some kind of brain damage?
Don't worry, 𝘂𝙀𝙗. The human brain can get by for a few minutes without a heartbeat. Your soul will return to your body just as soon as you have a heartbeat again. It's not the first time I've come across this. Near-death experiences are usually what has happened when people believe that God has spoken to them.
Okay, and then? Is my soul shade supposed to strangle Mordred?
No. We know that Mordred has made the sword usable on the other side. To put it better, the soul-like mirror reflection. You'll take it to the other side and be able to kill Mordred's soul with it. Shades are stronger there than they are here.
Have I got this right? Souls are strong here, and the soul shades are weak?
Exactly, and the other way around too. Which means that Mordred's soul is very weak on the other side.
Well, that sounds like there's some absurd logic to it. And what's the story with Mordred's shade then?
We'll keep it outside the mirror using the bones, so that it can't cross over to defend his soul. After that, the same thing ought to happen to the shade that happens to a soul when the body dies.
It'll go back into the mirror.
But there would still be a problem.
Yeah?
You need Mordred's sword, and apart from the broken tip. I don't know where that is.
In the book, there was something about a blackness that came out from the sword, spreading itself even further.
Of course. That's why Greg and Steve had problems with that. The tea room, the fungus. There was a constant problem there with the damage, apparently, coming from the extinguishing water after the fire.
Then the sword has to be there. I'll go and get
Stop. You're not going to lay a hand on any kind of sword, and especially not one of Mordred's. I'll get it. I need to get the book from the library anyway. One about poisons. These down here are somewhat out of date.
And what am I supposed to do in the meantime?
You could lay out Mordred's skeleton on the altar. See you soon. With a little imagination, you can see the fungus mark is in the shape of a sword. That has to be the right place. The wall's only being held together by wallpaper. The rest of it is totally rotten. One sword with a broken tip. Mordred's sword. Mordred's sword. Centuries old. The tip's broken off. After that, I'll go back to Adrian. Hopefully he was able to put Mordred's skeleton back together.
There are just too few pictures of you, Mordred. A photo of Mordred's remains. I'll just take the big bones. All the bones from the hands and feet have already turned to dust. I hope that's not gonna upset Mordred's soul shade. I'll put the bones down first, so it's easier to sort them. Right, so let's see how good my anatomical knowledge is. Yep, that looks right.
I've got the sword. Have you done it?
Mordred's skeleton's lying ready on the altar.
Good. Are the bones lying like they were before?
Head at the top, legs at the bottom. I reckon so. Have we got everything we need?
Looks like it. The poison's ready as well.
Is it gonna hurt?
Probably not. It paralyzes the heart muscle, but don't worry. I've got a syringe full of adrenaline here to bring you back to the land of the living.
Sounds like one of Phil's torture experiments, with me taking the Ralph role.
It'll be okay, Darren. Put your trust in God. Now, I'm going to get the poison, and then we can get started. Poison. It slows down the circulation and then the heart stops. Pain-free. I've had to do this all rather quickly, unfortunately. But the books in the library say it ought to work. Adrian's ready. I have to give him the poison. Good. You have to drink this.
Wait, if I don't manage to finish off Mordred, what happens then?
You have to win. It's your only chance. If you don't manage it, he'll kill you and his soul will take over your body.
How are you gonna know if I've done it? What I mean is, when will you resuscitate me?
I'm going to have to give you the adrenaline within 5 minutes at the latest, or else you'll die. Adrian, you have to do it.
All right. Valentina?
Yes.
See you later.
Yes. See you later, Adrian. Something's not right. Oh God, that's Mordred's soul. And that isn't Adrian's soul shade. I think he's done it. I need to get him back quickly, or else he'll be gone forever. Oh no, it's not working. Adrian! Adrian, come back! Thank God, you're alive.
What happened? I feel sort of different.
You've beaten Mordred, and the curse along with him. You've done it.
Really? The curse is finally broken?
Yes, the last of the Gordons has done it. Let's get out of this place and never come back. And how are you getting on?
Pretty well, I think. I'm done with the main points. Now I just have to get everything across into the Book of the Guardians. Do you want to have a look for yourself?
If I may.
Here, I'm not sure about this last point.
That's already a good beginning. When are you going to put it into the Book of the Guardians?
Not before I eat. Anyway, now I know what all those black balls were about.
I can't wait.
Mordred writes in his book that he had carried out a soul transfer ritual, but instead of all the bones, he had only used the skull and one black ball. The shade didn't go back into the mirror anymore after that, but always stayed close by the ball.
Ah, then you can trap souls with these balls as well. To all intents and purposes, they can be thought of as the body, right?
It gets better. Here, with the help of the soul trapped in the ball, one can, to a certain extent, control the shade. He writes that he put a ball in his brother's bedchamber, under the bed, in the hope that the shade would rob his soul in the night. But that didn't work. He suggests that Marcus's soul was too pure for the shade. What do you think? Do you think there are still shades going around today, doing all the evil stuff?
I don't know. But if there are, then it's your job to stop them.